Hey guys, it is Haifa from Fufu's Kitchen. I am back with a new video today. I'm going to be showing you how to make a super simple dinner in under 20 minutes. So it's going to be a chicken piccata, and that is an Italian dish. It's a lemony flavored chicken, typically served over angel hair pasta, but you could serve it with rice or with cauliflower rice or some vegetables, whatever you like. So I'm gonna show you how to make this super simple dinner, and usually I tell you guys the ingredients from the beginning, but this time I'm actually going to take you through the recipe and tell you the ingredients as we go along. So if we come right here, you're going to see a few things. First thing we're gonna start with is the chicken. So I have some chicken tenderloins here. You could use chicken breast or chicken cutlets, but you definitely want them to be thin pieces. So if you do use chicken breast, make sure you cut it into 2 or 3 slices. So I have chicken tenderloins here, and I really like working with these because they're already small, they're already cut up, and they're really tender. I dried it up, so I have it on a paper towel, and then I have plastic wrap over the top. You might be wondering why. That is because I'm going to use my mallet, and what I'm going to do is use this side, and I'm just going to pound my chicken just a little bit. So the reason why I pound it is, yes, to make it a little thinner and equal, so it cooks equally, and it'll cook faster, and because this is going to make it more tender. And the reason why I have some plastic wrap is to protect this from getting any, chicken on it. So you want to cover it with some plastic wrap. All right, so this is pretty good. Set this aside. So I want to work on the chicken first because that's just going to take some time to cook. What I'm going to do is season it with my favorite seasoning. This is a garlic lemon pepper seasoning, but you could just do like lemon pepper. So I'm going to do a little bit of that. I'm going to do a little bit of pepper. Even though this has a little pepper, I like a little bit more. And then a little bit of salt. And we are going to put salt in the flour coating, so you don't have to overdo it. You want to flip over and do the same thing. That way everything is seasoned really nicely and evenly. So I just started my stove so it could get hot. And honestly, do seasonings as you prefer. You don't have to add this much, or you could even add more. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is just add this to my flour. So in here I have a 1/4 cup of flour that has been mixed with some salt and pepper. So I'm just going to coat these. Really simple, honestly. And this is going to give it a little bit of a crust. And typically this dish has butter in it and it has white wine, but I am going to skip all that. Instead of the wine, I'm just gonna add some vegetable broth, and instead of the butter, I'm just gonna kind of thicken it and make it creamy with the flour and the fresh lemon juice. So a 1/4 cup is perfect. So let's take this over to the stove. And here I have my stovetop on medium. You can see that the heat is already starting to rise because I've been warming it up for a little bit now. And then I have my chicken. I have about a tablespoon of oil in here. I'm just gonna lower that just a little bit. I'm going to add my chicken. We want to try to fit all this chicken. So I have about 7 pieces. If this doesn't fit, then I'll keep one out. There we go. Think I could fit this one? There we go. This is a pretty big skillet. It's about 12 or 14 inches. So it fit about 7 chicken tenderloins. And now I just want this to be on medium high. Make sure you're using a non-stick skillet as well, because you don't want to really burn this. Okay. So we're gonna let it do its thing. It's gonna take about 4 minutes on each side to thoroughly cook the chicken, but you could also check with a meat thermometer. If it reaches 165 Fahrenheit, then it is completely cooked through and super tender. And you know what I noticed with chicken tenderloins, even if you were to cook it to 180, for instance, or overcook it, it still remains tender. So we're just gonna let this do its thing for a few minutes before we go ahead and flip it. Let's go back and work on our vegetables and sauce. All right, so a little bit of cleanup here. Okay, so for the sauce, we are going to need garlic. So I'm just gonna chop up 1 garlic clove. This is a fairly large garlic clove, so maybe you need 2 small ones or 1 really large one. So it's just a rough chop, nothing fancy. This is just gonna go in the sauce and give it some flavor. And then I believe I've showed you guys before my tip on cutting onions. So here is your onion. You are going to take off that bottom. You're gonna keep this. You're gonna cut right in half. Then we're gonna take the skin off. Just putting that on the side. And now you're just going to cut. Just like that. You don't want it to be too big or too small. And I'm just gonna keep the chicken on medium heat because you don't want it to scorch. So typically I like to keep this attached, and I'll show you why. Damaged. Let me just take this layer off. Okay, so this helps keep the whole onion intact. You see that it's not sliding around anywhere. It's staying all in one place. Makes it super easy to cut. 1, 2, 3. I just cut an onion in just a few seconds. So we have the onion and we have the garlic here. I am just going to slice up some lemon. This is gonna go in the sauce too, and it's gonna look super pretty. This is good. Just gonna set this aside. I have some flour. This is going to be the thickener. It's about 1 tablespoon of flour. And then they're also going to need some salt and pepper, some grated Parmesan cheese, some fresh lemon juice. I actually have 2 lemons juice in here. And then 1 1/4 cup of vegetable stock and some capers. This is gonna give it that brininess flavor that you need in a piccata. So back to the stovetop. Let's see what's going on over here. You can see that the chicken is cooking because you see that white forming around the edges. So you know that the chicken is starting to cook. Once the white reaches about here, 3/4 of the way, I know it's time to flip. And you can see it's starting to develop that really nice color. So I'm gonna higher it just a little bit to get a little bit more brown. And this should be ready in about a minute to be flipped. Now I wanna show you over here, I have some angel hair pasta that I cooked. So I have some angel hair. This typically and traditionally goes with angel hair pasta. So I just whip that up. It's already cooked. I just have to drain it. And let me show you how I do that. So typically people would pour this in here and drain it that way. What I'm gonna do is place this right on top. Let's go to the sink. So I'm gonna place it right on top. And I am just going to pour just like that. That way, this keeps the pasta from going all over the place, and you are able to take all that water out. Easy, right? Some of you may know that trick. Some of you, that's probably the first time, so I thought I would show you. Okay, let's flip this chicken. Oh, look at that beautiful color. Gorgeous. This is because of that flour that we put on there too. It's a little crispy. So you can see this one's not as dark. So I'm gonna give it another few minutes, and I'm actually going to rotate the pan so it gets a little even cooking time, because you can see here it was probably a little hotter. You could tell right away. And that's totally fine. This one's pretty good. We'll give this another minute or two. So, there you go. I'm just so happy that they all fit in one pan, honestly. Okay. Let's flip these over right now. All right, so this is probably going to take another 4 minutes, and it should be done. And you notice when you cook chicken, it tends to kind of thicken. All the juices start to form in there. So what we're going to do after this is done cooking is actually set the chicken aside in another plate. And using the same pan, we are going to cook the onions and the garlic and just add all those wonderful sauces in there, and then we'll add the chicken back in here. Okay, so I am just going to let this continue cooking. If you feel like it's getting too hot and it needs a little bit more oil, feel free to add another touch of oil in there. So about a teaspoon or so. Because sometimes it just needs that fat to help cook it and not burn the chicken. Even though I love those crispy bits. So I'm gonna take the pasta in the meantime, and I'm actually gonna put it on my desired plate. So I just made enough pasta for my hubby and I. I'm gonna add it to my serving platter. And then we're gonna top it off with the chicken piccata at the end. So you don't actually put the pasta in the sauce. You kind of have the pasta as a base, and then you top it with the chicken and the wonderful lemon sauce and the lemon slices. And you guys know I'm all about presentation, so I'm just trying to make this look nice. Don't forget, this is in under 20 minutes, so we are at the halfway mark about. We got this. Dinner in 20 minutes. And this is definitely a healthier approach to chicken piccata because we're not putting any wine in here. We're not putting any butter in here. So it's definitely lighter. And to make it even lighter, you could actually substitute the angel hair pasta for a whole wheat spaghetti maybe, or a whole wheat angel hair. Or you could even do cauliflower rice or regular rice, or just even like some potatoes and vegetables, whatever you want really. Okay, setting that aside. Let's look at the chicken now. Let's flip these babies over. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Gorgeous color. We're getting there. And I also know, based off just the look of chicken, if it's cooked or not, because I've been doing it for quite a while now. So if you look here, you can see that it's completely white. I don't see any sign of pink. There might be in the center some, but I don't see any around, which is great. So that's the first thing to look for. Next, if you just kind of go down and it's not, if you don't feel like it's so soft, then more than likely it's getting cooked, or it is cooked and it's not pink anymore. And don't forget that this will kind of cook a little bit as it comes to room temperature. Okay, and how I like to double check is get out my handy dandy meat thermometer. I love these. Everyone should own a meat thermometer. That's how you know how you want your steak done. That's how you know your chicken is ready. Moment of truth. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, it's getting there, guys. If you see here, it's at 160, 161. Give this another minute and it's going to be cooked nicely. And you want to always put your meat thermometer on the thickest part of the chicken, because if that's done, then the entire chicken is done. My husband's behind the camera and he's so hungry. He cannot wait to eat this. All right, I'm gonna grab a plate. We are going to take this out. Look at that, beautiful. I'll leave the thicker ones to last. So yeah, if you don't have a meat thermometer, I would just let them cook for a few more minutes longer. Or you could cut one open and check it that way, but my meat thermometer confirmed that these are ready to go. So now, using this same sauce, these same tidbits right in the pan, we are going to add, dun dun dun, our onions and our garlic. And now we are going to add just a little bit of oil to saute these in. I'm gonna get my little spatula and just want to kind of mix this all together, let it brown. So I promised you dinner in 20 minutes. What are we at, cameraman? All right, we're nearing 18 minutes. Okay, so give this a quick stir. We are going to do a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. We are going to add some flour, about a tablespoon for thickener. Then you're just gonna mix this all together. It kind of forms something called a roux. Okay, and now we are going to add 1 1/4 cup of vegetable stock. We are going to add some fresh lemon juice, the 2 lemons. I'm going to add a little bit of Parmesan, so about a tablespoon of Parmesan. We're gonna add about a tablespoon of capers, if I could get this open. There you go. You wanna kind of stir this all together. And it's going to thicken just a little bit. You want to put it on high heat because you want this to simmer. Put the light on for you guys so you can probably see this a little bit better. Perfect. Smells so good. I'm gonna add a little bit more salt in here, a little bit more pepper. And I'm also going to throw in those beautiful lemon slices to kind of give it some more flavor. Oh my God, it smells so good. So once this starts to thicken just a little bit, and it's gonna take a few minutes probably to thicken, you wanna have this on the highest heat. And what's going to thicken the sauce is that flour that we kept in there. And then you have all those flavors from the lemon juice, the vegetable broth, the lemon zest from the rind. And then the flavors of the sweet onion and the garlic. And then the capers add a really nice brininess to this. And it all comes together. And if you're not sure where to get capers, you could actually find them at any supermarket. I know sometimes we don't really work with them, but they stay really well in the fridge. And I love to keep them for pasta dishes. They go really well in those. Just like this one, chicken piccata, over some angel hair pasta. I don't know about you, but I love Italian food, and to know I could do a dish in about 20 minutes, under 30 for sure, makes me super happy. So you can see that I'm letting this simmer on high heat. That way it will thicken faster without me moving it around, without me stirring. So I'm just gonna let this continue simmering. Okay, let me lower it just a little bit. Start stirring. And it all depends. If you like something to be super saucy, this is great. If you like something to be a little bit thicker, then you could go ahead and even add more flour if you like, or cornstarch. It's really all preference. So I'm just gonna keep going because I like mine a little bit thicker, to be honest with you. And I don't mind even adding a little bit more flour. I'm into that thick sauce. But some people like it to be a little bit more thin. You could even do this with some cod. Codfish would go really well with this. So if you're not a big fan of chicken, or you're just pescatarian, or you implement more seafood into your diet, you can definitely do this sauce with some cod and put it in there, and it will be delicious. Smells so good. This kind of reminds me of scampi as well. So if you've had like shrimp scampi, this is kind of similar. You get that lemon juice, you get the vegetable broth, you get the onions. Shrimp scampi doesn't have capers though. That's what kind of really sets this dish apart, are those capers. You can see that the sauce is starting to thicken. I'm just gonna raise it a little bit higher. I'm gonna start putting my chicken back in here, so it could kind of cook with everything. Look at that. It smells so good. Wish you guys could smell this. Of course, I want that little tidbit in there. I want this to kind of go together like this, marry together for about a minute before we start plating it. And when I plate it, I'm gonna kind of ladle the sauce in there. I don't want all the sauce on my spaghetti. Kind of let it, if people want a little bit more, they could add a little bit more. Let me just get my ladle. Beautiful. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is ladle some of my sauce. You can see that it thickened. We're gonna add the chicken on top. Just gonna put 4 for now. And I'm gonna add a little bit more of this sauce right on top now. You can definitely see that the sauce has reduced. See how thick it got? So you can definitely see that. I'm gonna add those lemon slices on top. Looks so pretty. You guys seeing this? How gorgeous. You can't tell me your family wouldn't be impressed if you put this on the dinner table with all those flavors. So if you like a lighter pasta, this is definitely for you. There we go. And then I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of Parmesan over the top. Just like that. And then I'm going to cut up some of my parsley. So I'm going right to my cutting board. Do just a quick cut. I'm gonna take some of this and put it right over the top. A little bit more, give it that freshness. There you have it. Look at this. Let me show you in that beautiful sun. An easy and delicious meal in under 30 minutes. We didn't meet 20 minutes, but we were under 30. So there you have it, chicken piccata. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like what you see. And also my blog is fufuskitchen.com, where I do share all my recipes. I hope to see you guys again soon.